this idea that, the Australians, the English, I mean, Ricky Ponting can win a World Cup, but right after that, if his form is out, he's dropped. I mean, Owen Morgan, legendary, white ball cricketer, he's moved on now, and somebody else has taken his place. Why is it that in India we sort of deify these cricketers to the point where even dropping them on such a poor run of form is questionable?
Number one, Zaka, you speak of Morgan. He decided himself after all that he'd done for England. He decided himself that maybe it was in the best interest of the side that he was not 100%, that he was not able to contribute towards winning games for his country, for his side, and he took that decision. I personally still feel Virat Kohli still, and obviously has the game even today, and has that self-belief. He can go out there and win games for India, for his team. Otherwise, trust you me, he spent a lot of time under Mahendra Singh Dhoni as well. Mahendra Singh Dhoni, if you remember, in Australia said, Virat is ready to take on the captaincy for test matches. Let me step down in the larger interest of the side and also the country. And Virat is also on the same pages. The day he thinks that he is going to be a liability to the Indian side, he will hang up his boots from that format. But I firmly still believe, and I have that confidence as well, who I've spoken to a lot of people around, that trust you me, the intensity during the games, when he's on tour, the practice sessions, or even when he's not playing for India and he's spending a lot of time in Mumbai, he spends a lot of time in the nets with some of his old coaches as well, with that same sort of intensity that he has it in him to win games. He himself wants to bounce back as well.
Okay.
And coming back to a couple of callers that also spoke about Zaka was, the other thing, when we talk about World Cup, you want some experienced campaigners who win proven match winners in the past as well, just to prove a point and send shivers down the spine of the opposition as well. This man, he gets going, he'll win you a game. And Virat Kohli is that sort of a batsman.
Okay, let me ask Ayaz, so why then are the legends from the past, the likes of a Kapil Dev, Venkatesh Prasad, Sehwag, all saying that, we've all had to go back to domestic cricket when our form dipped, so why should there be different rules for Virat Kohli?
Well, I mean, look, there are, I think the yardsticks is different. Yardsticks are different. If you're looking at the T20 World Cup, there's no domestic cricket before that. So where is he going to go back and prove himself? Then it has to be for the next T20 World Cup, not this one. I think that the issue is getting a little muddled. I think that you have to go by what actually I feel is that how strongly Rohit Sharma, who is the captain of the team and captain designate without question for the T20 World Cup, and the chief coach, Rahul Dravid, how strongly they've come out in support of Virat. If they had some doubt, then they would, they wouldn't be so strong in their, in their support. They would withdraw a bit and say, let's see, let's watch, let's see how it's going. I think that one has to look at it or juxtapose it in the larger context that your T20 World Cup is 2 months or 3 months away, as Vimal put it. And what is your best squad going to be? And I keep coming back. I think that we are making a mistake. We are assuming a playing 11 to be the squad. It need not be the case.
Okay.
A T20 game is extremely frenetic. Somebody may get injured. Somebody may not be up to the mark at that point in time. You will have substitutions coming in. It's a long drawn tournament. So you need a squad which will win you the tournament. And in that squad, are you going to keep out Virat Kohli? Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma seem to think, if I'm going just by their statements, certainly not.
No, they're certainly backing him, no doubt about it. In fact, Rohit was asked about it at the PC, I think after one of the games, and he said, people on the outside don't know what's happening inside the dressing room. But let me also get in some more callers, please. Yeah, let me get in some more callers, and I'll come back to you.
It's going to be a tight finish for Virat.
I'll come back to you. Yogesh Joshi is calling us from Dehradun. Yogesh Joshi, yes, go ahead, Mr. Joshi.
Yes, sir. My question is to sir that the kind of batting Virat Kohli has done in the past. So how easy to selector as well as the captain to drop him, sir?
Okay, all right. Thank you for your question. Rohit is calling us from Udupi in Karnataka. Rohit.
Yeah, good evening, Jacob. I'm Rohit. Like what you said, I would say that no player or member of a team is greater than the team. So if Virat Kohli isn't performing, it's rightful place for him to be dropped.
All right, Rohit, thank you for your call. Mr. Krishnan is calling us from Chennai.
Yeah, actually, Virat Kohli was a great player. Now he is not in form. It is a fact. But the other thing is what contributed to this downhill is he was got in the crossfire between Ganguly and Ravi Shastri. It also made him to lose his confidence and other things also.
All right.
Should be
Okay,
given
Mr.
proper
Krishnan,
fair
thank
of
you
mind to
for your call. Vimal, let me get a word in, and then I'll give Tim the final word. Tim and Shishir the final word. Vimal, there has obviously been a lot that has happened, in terms of the composition of the team management. I don't want to go into the past, but the way in which, first Ravi Shastri was let go of, and then the captaincy was let go of, is all well in terms of where they are in terms of the equations, the team management's importance for Virat Kohli in their scheme of things. Are they all on the same page when it comes to Virat Kohli? There was also somebody who said on Twitter, Rohit Sharma has an IOU on Virat Kohli, because when his place in the Test side was not cemented, Virat Kohli gave him a really long rope. So maybe he's returning the favor now.
But I think Zaka, if I've completely heard your question, then I will answer that accordingly, because a little bit of noise is going on as there is a break. But what I sense that, yes, ever since, when I was in India and I was thinking, there is some rave, some stories, because being a former captain and then adjusting to the dressing room is not easy. But what I have seen from the team hotels, his interaction with Dravid, body language, Rohit Sharma, other team members, Virat has been his usual chirpy self. I saw him in a couple of nets where he was, joking around with Rishabh Pant and all other young players. It never looked like, that he is no longer a former captain. Obviously, when you are not captain, your authority gets diminished. That has happened with him. And that is something, personally, maybe it will take time for someone like Virat Kohli to get motivated, because captaincy was something which used to motivate him to, take his game to a different level. So now, Virat Kohli again at a different level as a player. He has to elevate his game, which I think most of the observers I have spoken to, in fact, a couple of times I spoke to Ravi Shastri. He comes around during the commentary box and I asked, Ravi bhai, kya dikkat kya hai? And Ravi bhai just said that dikkat kuch nahi hai yaar, isko sirf break chahiye. That he has been saying, ki agar usko break milta hai, if he gets a break, say couple of weeks, at least a month, which now he's getting. He's not going to play West Indies T20 ODI series, which is good 15 days. Then Asia Cup, there is a difference. So I think we should wait once Virat goes to either Sri Lanka or Bangladesh for Asia Cup, and I'm sure he will get runs.
All right, I'll give Tim the final word, because I've got to wrap up this segment as well. Tim, at this level, for somebody who's achieved as much as Virat Kohli has, it's more often in the mind rather than a question of the body. I think one of the callers asked, would a chat with the Fab Four possibly help clear his mind?
No, I think with Virat Kohli, you have to say, over an extended period of time, his form has not been good enough. The last two seasons of the IPL, which is 31 matches, is a good sample size. His average is 26, strike rate of 118. That is, frankly, not the kind of modern dynamic T20 cricket that is going to win you a tournament. So right now, the case for Virat Kohli is pretty small. Is he better than those other anchored players? I just don't think he is at the moment. We know he's got a good record in Australia. That does complicate things somewhat. But increasingly, it feels like with Kohli in T20, we're looking kind of further and further back for our evidence of why he's still in India's best team. And I think that case is getting harder and harder to make. Whereas I think in ODIs, he absolutely still deserves to be in India's team.
All right. Okay. We'll leave it at that. I want to thank all our guests, Nikhil Chopra, Ayaz Memon, Vimal, Shishir, and of course, Tim for joining us.